All right, what's happening, speculators? It's going to fire up the Futures Fanatics live stream for a special Monday edition. I streamed on Friday when the markets were falling apart. I figured to come out back on and do a little stream here on Monday where we got recovery. These markets seem to do this when they do decline, which is rare. You get these snapback events because the original catalyst was a little bit artificial. Before I get going, just remind everybody that this broadcast is for educational purposes only. Thanks, Rich, for the picture and sound. Sounds like everything's okay. The opinions expressed are going to be those of the presenter only. That's going to be me the whole time. So all trades presented should be considered hypothetical. It should not be expected to be replicated in a live trading account. All right, let's move this out of the way. My Kerpos going into the afternoon is essentially a little bit of a mixed bag here. So I am both long and short. I'm short gold here, which I'm going to start to cover just as we start the session here.
Order filled.
So get a little cover that, and I think I have, those are the only positions I have. Yeah, still there. So we'll leave that short position on, although it's likely that we're going to get a bounce back up to here to the plus ones, excuse me. So I'll put a sell order back at the plus ones. You can see the little bounce that we put on there right away. Ultimately, the target would be VWAP down here, but can we get below the 4,097? We will see. It's going to be rare that I'll be trading gold in these afternoon sessions, but it's not that rare right now because it seems like gold keeps popping. Imagine everyone had a pretty good trading session, I hope. If you didn't, you might want to check out our trade room. You can find out more about that in the description down below. Also, you can download the Prop Done Right ebook. From the stats from this morning, we had, I think, about 180 people vote, and we had about well over 85% profitable. Because what happened today is because of the movement yesterday. Let me go ahead and move this over here so we can take a look at it. There we go. I know that my head is blocking some of that, so I'll move my head down here. So we'll tighten this up a little bit. Just take a look at the S&P. So we all know about this day here on Friday, the tariff tantrum, whatever you want to call it. Also an opportunity to liquidate most of the retail, highly leveraged crypto traders. If you end up getting financially wiped out by fart coin, I think that there's some poetic justice in that. So hopefully no one listening to my voice got wiped out by Fartcoin. Anyhow, here on the S&P, as I said this morning, we have this nice bear continuation pattern. That just means that price is trading below the 233 EMA. Very, very unlikely we're going to see these lows that we made sort of on the panic last flush into the close on Friday at 65.42. So it sets up for some really nice range trading today, which is indeed what has ended up happening. So looking at the markets this way, you have a lot of range. Now, granted, a lot of that range is in a gap up. That's, gaps in the futures markets are rare in the stock indices. They're not that frequent. But when you get them, that can lead to a lot of the range expansion. But it is what it is. That's just math. It doesn't matter if a lot of this was untradeable because, the close is down here and the open is right here. So you have a good almost, 90 points of the range is not really the tradable range, but it is part of the range for today. So you have over 100% ATR. The ATR on the S&P today is up to 82. So we were down trading in the 50s. So we've had significant range expansion. So this is the true definition of volatility. So this vol event might be very short-lived, but it's a true definition of volatility. And we come in today understanding that this type of setup, and I mean in the grander scheme, this type of setup is ideal for making money using these types of methods. You don't have to use these types of methods. All you have to do is establish, protect, and respect a daily risk budget. But I show these because they're going to give you a framework that's very easy to learn and to walk forward test and even to back test if you want, manually back test. So you can get familiar with, and you will come in and say to yourself, oh, wow, I've seen this before. It doesn't happen very often, but I've seen these types of super expansive days, the prior session, this happened to be on a Friday, so it carries over to the weekend. I love this. Now I know that the next day I have these big ranges to work with, and I have a high probability that the price is going to stay within the bands. Okay? So even though the Dow, as an example, went and poked its head outside the bands, so what? It's now come back inside balance, and I'm playing it from the short side a little bit here into this last hour of trading. Gold was an interesting trade today as well. You can see I'm resting orders, a turd, and a turd, as they say. 1, 2, 3. By the way, I mention this all the time. This is a defendable and fine way to trade. You are not going to get banned or not get payouts using micros trading what you see here. Each one of these levels is justified, and especially if you don't want to do that, if you don't feel comfortable with that, then just put the order up at 41.42s, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that 41.42s or 41.43s will be a very manageable area to be short today. This morning, the plus twos were sitting at about 41.20s, so we went and put in another 30 points above that. Sorry, 23 points above that. So also, if you're just joining, I will be doing a giveaway today. I was trying to think of a different way to do a giveaway rather than add up the balances of the accounts. If you guys can think of a better way to do a giveaway or another fun way to do a giveaway, please let me know, and we can try something different. Appreciate. Yes, do hit the like button. It really helps. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hit the like button. All right, it will probably be a little slow here, so I can't come in and use the opportunity to answer some questions if you'd like. I was also going to, again, many of you know that or if you don't, I generally do this stream in the afternoon, not for my health, not to do a whole lot of additional teaching and training, and really not to show a whole bunch of trade setups, because more often than not, there isn't any. But today, given what happened on Friday, we could see some cool stuff into the close, so we do that. But mostly it's to create little snippets of content, little sound bites that I can use to post on social media so more people can find out about Traders Dev Group, how to properly do these prop programs. Wow, short the MBT, so that must have popped up to the plus ones. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to be very impatient with this and put in a buy stop. You won't see me do that very often. Instead, I want my short up here, so I don't need to be short the world going into the close. Already short the Dow Jones here.
Order filled.
All right, so I got stopped out on the Bitcoin, which is fine. Oh no, I didn't. Sorry, never mind. Not yet. That must have been another order that was filled. Oh yeah, that's it.
Order filled.
So still in this Bitcoin short and in this Dow short as well. First time here, heard positive things. All right, well, I'll try to live up to it. What you don't hear is positive things about my singing. People were on me about my singing today. I'm still waiting on our new song. Our new song is going to be Shut Up and Trade. Shut up and trade. Some people are onto it. They send me an email and they're very apologetic and careful before they then launch into whatever their problem is. Rod, I enjoy everything you're doing for the community, and a bunch of stroking, which is great. And then the but I tried this thing with Thor, and then it sent in a bunch of trades, and then Prop Shop didn't respond back to me, and then you recommended it, and then this all sucks, and the world is horrible. So I'm going to have my sound bite. Shut up and trade. Shut up and trade. Yeah, long NQ is fine. I could see that. I'm going to be fading the strength, and I'll keep it up there at the plus twos. So you have some targets up here at highs of day. Can we get to 25,000 today? 25,000. That's That's right. I do talk too much. Shut up and trade. You know what's wild is that very, very, very few people engage with content that they watch, which is fine. Obviously, the algorithms prefer that you engage with the content, so thumbs up are very helpful, all that good stuff. But especially on TikTok, Instagram, and then YouTube Shorts, people that do engage, invariably everything they say is incorrect. So let me just give you an example. I just did a post on where they took a soundbite about the fact that scalping for several ticks is not a sustainable strategy. You can try. Look, I've only been doing this for a long, long time. A long time. And if you like to think that you can avoid slippage and actual transaction costs and everything else because you're trading on a simulator and it's working for you at a prop program, that's great. But I mean things like trading 6 to 8 ticks even in the S&P, things like that. 6 to 8 ticks can work in something like the treasuries if you have a really defined strategy, but turns out most of the people that were doing that in the prop programs were manipulating the data feed and were complete scamsters. Fraudsters, scamsters, is that the term we use? So I made this post saying that, yeah, if you have quite a bit of money, you might be able to do it enough to earn a living for yourself, but it's never going to be a strategy you can really run at scale or anything like that. No, a lot of people don't care about scale and they're not really listening to what I'm saying, but very, very tight target trading. Now, I would consider everything that I do in front of you as scalping, and everything that I do in the trade room is scalping. The difference being that I'm not scalping for 2 ticks or 4 ticks or 6 ticks or 8 ticks. It's the other thing is that that's going to create a tremendous amount of actual transactions generally. Now you might say that you have your the stars align and the C's part, and you know the time to get in there and get your 8 ticks, and you only do 3 trades a day and you get your 8 ticks. Okay, great. I've only looked at 75,000 traders through my affiliations with brokerages and copy trading sites and everything else, but I'm sure you have something that I've never seen that actually works and is sustainable. And I don't mean works over like 2 months or something like that, or enough for one payout. Anyhow, the responses on some of these videos were, well, that's exactly what HFT is. And my response was, tell me you don't know what HFT or market making is without telling me you don't know what HFT and market making is. High frequency trading is not 2 ticks, 3 ticks, 4 ticks, 5 ticks. It's pennies. It's making markets on both sides. It's not scalping. Okay? It's a series of millions of arbitrage transactions. So at least if you're going to think you understand something, just do a teeny bit of research, please. We need this for the whole world. Just do a little bit of research. Just educate yourself a teeny bit. A teeny bit. High frequency trading is arbitrage. You as a retail trader are not doing that. So if you're scalping for a few ticks, you're not doing anything that involves arbitrage. And I won't even get into all the silliness about minis versus micros and everybody believing that they're somehow going to defy math and logic and be able to consistently run up very small accounts all the time. Now, can you run them up frequently enough to be positive in terms of your ROI on your investment and your time? Yeah, but you're never really going to grow as a trader. You're not going to grow with any of these firms. You might think none of these firms ever want to grow with you anyway. That's fine. That's okay. But I'm a dreamer. You say you're a dreamer. I believe there might be a little bit of alpha out there in the crowd, and that maybe we could find it someday, you know? So, I don't know. What do I know? Look at the Nazi making a move. Seen this movie before. A little strong close here, if we can. How did I end up making 1,200? I'm up almost. I'm going to disconnect several of these accounts that are up even more, and I'll just leave some of the ones that are Just trading the strategies. Today in the trade room right before we closed, I said I had done 88 trades and they were 100% profitable. And anyone who was in the trade room this morning saw it in action. Not on my charts. It was what everyone was doing. The Dow Jones just ranged perfectly. It was a thing of beauty. I'm going to cancel this order here at yeah, so this account has closed profits of 12.39, and I'm eating into it here on this Dow short. So we're down 82 bucks on this one. Glad I finally noticed the heavy breathing. Just in fairness, the heavy breathing doesn't come in all that often. It doesn't come in that often. It's not a frequent thing, but I have become aware of it. The Flash Boys, yes. We should do a parody. The Flash Boys of prop. Rod, I'm here to learn. You don't have to address the madness with these folks. Please carry on, sir. Let's get to the bag. That's a good comment. I like that comment. I do need though. I need some sound bites though. The education stuff doesn't transfer very well to. I have to do my little part to show up in the world that is full of noise. God, is it full of noise? All right, we can get to some learning. So real quick on learning. On the very rare times in which you have more than 100% ATR, and today we have well over 100% ATR, or actually at 100% ATR, I should say. But again, it doesn't account for this move here. It just accounts from this right here. 66.29s. So we have 100% ATR if you don't account for the gap. If you account for the gap, it's even more. It's like 200% ATR, right? So let's just call it 100% ATR. On days where you have 100% ATR, you're going to find that the bands are going to get you done. They're more often than not, the price is not going to spend much time outside the bands. Right? That's all I need to tell you about today. Also, we are in a bear continuation pattern. We are below. So on a 30-minute, now again, this is just not a day, not one day does not a market make, but it's enough to make the shift to get below T-line and put us into a bearish continuation pattern. So until we get back above 67.39, according to the framework that I am teaching here, these are bearish continuation patterns. Same thing on the NASDAQ. You can get little moves up here. I mean, the thing is with this big move, you got to almost do something like that, right? And then it starts to look a little different. But you can clearly see that buyers are defending 24,904. I mean, they are. So for now, they're defending that level pretty well. And then we just have total pot luck over the next 30 minutes. I know there's going to be some that think that they can look into the matrix or look at a footprint chart or guess and say, oh, it's going to be a strong close and we're going to push higher. And half the time you'd be right. But rather than think about those things, instead you can come up and just put the order on the line. And I'll actually attach it here, okay? So I'm going to attach the order right here. And that sell is at 24,967. And just do this enough times to build the confidence and the mental fortitude. Now, I would not suggest you do it on the NASDAQ, but if you're having success with the NASDAQ and you have a daily risk budget that can account for trading the NASDAQ, then that's fantastic. But this will work on all of, quote unquote work. And see how I'm resting an order right here as well. I'll attach this to this line as well. Okay. Ideally, this also puts you in a position in which, you know, you're not too worried about 50 bucks. Let's see, it keeps going higher and higher and higher. By the time it gets up here, I have another indicator that runs not on Ninja, but on some of my other stuff. It runs on a dome on TT that will tell me exactly what I'll be up or down at any next fill. No, I'm not going to sell that for you. Code it up yourself. It's very, very cool though. So what I'm describing is that, I mean, I could do the math here roughly, but I went to California schools and I'm not that smart. So what my TT stuff does is it tells me, and this is for treasuries, but anyway, it would work on anything. It tells me at my next ad or at my next target exactly what that position will be up or down. So I know whether it's still within my daily risk budget or my risk for that trade. I don't teach on risk per trade because I don't think it's really a necessary skill to use. You need to learn how to manage portfolio risk as a day trader on a daily basis based on a daily risk budget per session. If you start to get too much into that's another thing that I've heard, you know, 1 to 2%. Of course, that doesn't work with prop programs. You're going to risk $25 on a trade or $45, $50 on a trade. Maybe you can. I mean, good luck. I mean, some of you could. I mean, if you have a $150 daily risk budget, you probably don't want to be risking more than $50 per trade. But you're going to have a hard time developing situational fluency. In other words, feeling comfortable as markets move against you or for you. There are many people that feel just as uncomfortable with a winning trade as they do with a losing trade because they think it's going to come back against them, or they don't have the ability to let it go to target. Say yeah me in the chat if you feel that that's how you're wired, that you feel as uncomfortable in a winning position as you do in a losing position. Ideally, you want to get to the point where you feel as comfortable being uncomfortable as you can, and you make the best decisions you can with incomplete information. Okay, if you're just joining, we're going to be having our Trade Day giveaway today. I don't know, did anyone come up with a better suggestion for the giveaway? I didn't read that. Let me see here. If you have a better suggestion for how to do a giveaway with a whole bunch of people, let me know. Yeah, I wish clickbait didn't work, and I really do. But you know, I did a series of long trainings, put them up on YouTube. They don't get much visibility. I try to optimize them the best I can. So what started to really work, you know, I hope I get to the stream to the point where generally when I'm streaming, now again, I'm doing it later in the afternoon, not during the market hours, but while I'm streaming, there might be a couple hundred people watching. There's there's plenty of people out there that stream with 5,000 people watching. All right, I have 11K and I'm tired of prop. Okay, if you're tired of prop, come up here. Give me one in the chat if you were here on the Friday. Were you here on the Friday? Ooh, yikes! Look at that. Okay. Well, on Friday, what I did, and Ninja's such a great firm, they take like 3 days to give you back your money. They literally do. So I requested on Wednesday. It probably won't even be withdrawn from my account until tomorrow, and then it won't be in my account until. So for those of you who complain about some prop firms taking a little while to pay you, how about firms like NinjaTrader? Now at Interactive Brokers, I can ask for $100,000 and it'll be wired that same day. Same day. As long as before 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They'll wire $100 same day. $100,000 the same day. Over here, you ask for $2,000, which I did on Friday on the stream. And you can see the balance is still $72.74. So I got on this one because I'm going to, every time I stream, I'll show you my prop programs if you want. I'll show you, but I want you guys to remind me to say, hey, show me your NinjaTrader balance, because this is real. This is a real world manifestation of exactly what you can do with 5,000, 10,000. Someone just said they have 11,000. So if you don't want to deal with the prop programs anymore, now to be realistic, I mean, you have a lot more profit potential in the prop programs if you learn how to copy, and manage. But if it takes doing it in the real world for a little while for you to see that this is how to do it, this is $223 today, and this is the month. I made a withdrawal to bring it down to 4,000. It should have been exactly 4,000. It says 4,094. Maybe it was 4,100. And here's the month. And eventually when they take the $2,050 out, you'll see it drop. You see it drop, and we'll start again for the remainder of this month. So over here is another tracking account for Interactive Brokers. And I took $1,750 out today. So that will be reflected in the net lick basically tomorrow, and they'll reduce it back down to 1,200. Excuse me, to whatever 1,750 is. So I meant it to be back at 10,000, but I made $585 today. So you can say that you can try to do it differently or anything, but mark my words, I do not want you putting money in live markets and trading in an over-leveraged bozo manner like what you might see elsewhere, okay? If you deposit $5,000 or $10,000 in NinjaTrader and you trade minis, you are going to blow up. Can I please tell you this? I don't care what your strategy is. You're not going to know why. You might have just blown up on Friday. You could lose your entire account, all 10,000 bucks on a 2-lot. Don't do that. But a great exercise is to deposit money in live markets while you also work and do what we're doing here on the prop programs too. Because so let me get back to I'll get back to some questions here because there's a good question about the math. So Michael's asking right here. He's asking 5 to 1% risk per trade. It is on a large account, probably account of 25,000 or 50,000 or more. Real money, right? I mean, since these programs are never going to change from this notional value for the most part, we have to think in terms of real money. So if your real money account is $5,000, and you want to risk $100 per trade, okay, that could work. That would work with about a $400 daily risk budget. So on a $50,000 account with a $2,000 drawdown, we're talking about a $2,000 account. Here's the thing, we have to use these terms, right? And they're just so silly. The drawdown. I'm willing to draw down my entire account. A drawdown is when you have $10,000 and you lose $600 one day. You drew down a little bit. Not when you have $10,000 and you lost your whole account. That's a draw out of business. So Michael, what I would suggest is on a $2,000 account, you start with a $200 daily risk budget. Okay? And on a $200 daily risk budget, I know that other people some members of my group might be working with, no trade more than a quarter of your daily risk budget or $50, but it's just going to be so hard. There's no way you could trade the NASDAQ that way, which you shouldn't anyway. You could probably get away with the Dow with a 50, because $50 risk per trade is 100 points on one contract. But you really want to be aiming for a way in which you can have 1, 2, 3 contracts in the Dow Jones eventually. So if you had a 2-lot on, now instead of 100 points, it's just 50 points, right? So I would say don't let any trade eat into more than half of your daily risk budget. if that makes sense. That's what I would start with. So now you don't really have to worry about stops and targets all that much. You just have to go, shit, I'm down $100 in this trade. I have a $200 daily risk budget. I just have to hit the close button. I have no choice. Doesn't matter what the outcome's going to be, right? So there you go. Yeah, Jeremy, your check's in the mail. You're just speaking too much truth. He's saying, you know, why risk your own? Let me put this. I realize my head is down at the bottom now, so I'm gonna put my head back up at the top. There we go. I don't see a reason to risk your own capital, but I'm just giving all the scenarios here. I think the benefit of having real brokerage relationships is you'll learn more about margin. You'll learn more about actual fills. You'll learn more about how auto liquidation and sizing really works. You know, that's a fancy way of saying margin as well. And probably the most important for most people, I would think, you'll learn a little bit of discipline and patience because it's real money. S&P creeping a little higher as well. Since I'm already short the Dow, I'm not going to have an equivalent short there, but I will here on the NASI. Yeah, I had said the whole shut up and trade thing. I'm really starting to feel that because a lot of people want to focus on. So I just did a video about the firm Phoenix, and there was a number of positive comments, which are great. I'm going to try it out or whatever, and then just a whole lot of the same thing, but this, that, and the other. And you can only. I love this. My favorite thing. You can for the couple $100 you pay, you can only take 3 payouts of a certain amount. Well, I hear those same complaints about Prop Shop as well. So speaking of live capital, then if you don't like that, deposit your own money. You can take out as much as you want, provided you make it. Not going to be able to use the same amount of leverage. There's really no reason to complain about any of these aside from if they literally go dark and take your money, which full disclosure has happened a few times, including one firm that I talked about, right? That's the only area in which I think it's valid to complain. Long and MES, yeah, I like it. I think you could see the touch of not only 6,700, but we could get up to 6,708. Know it all right. I'm the best ever. It's just hard. If Patrick Whalen can get away with saying it, I can get away with saying it. You can't fight math. That's all I'm here to say. You can't fight math. I totally agree that there's tons of ways to make and lose money. But in small accounts, you can't fight math. So if your way to make money in a small account is to over-leverage yourself the moment you push the button, no. You are just incorrect. I'm not here pushing the concept of mean reversion or of anything else. I don't care how you trade. Doesn't matter to me. There's a contest going on right now over at TradeDay, and I'm going to give away and I've done a little stuff on the. I said from the very beginning, not as an excuse, that I have zero chance of winning. Now I have absolutely no chance of winning because you're allowed to reset your account. So I'm like, if you can reset your account, how does this have any bearing in reality? By the way, I'm going to be back at Starting Stack today. So I'm back at Starting Stack. Dug myself a $1,100 hole. And we're back at Starting Stack. So remember that Black Mirror episode where they recorded, everyone could record everything that happened in their eyes and then play it back? It's sort of like the Progressive commercial where they go to replay. Sometimes I hear from people and it's literally as if I don't even know what they heard. So anyhow, I am the best ever. Thank you for your time. Please hit the like button. I know for a fact, and I'll use that pronoun I, me, that there's no one else out here teaching this kind of stuff, doing this properly. There just isn't. I've looked at everybody else. There's nobody. So you can learn it this way and have success and, have a screen that looks like this more often than not. Or, I don't know, fine, do it your way. But your ways, if you're trading in an over-leveraged manner, it's not going to be sustainable. That's all I'm telling you. And I've done it longer than any of you, so I'm just telling you. So do it your own way. All right, 6,700. There you go, dude. Good hit. Nice target there. Just a big round number. Yeah, when they said so here's the reason I did it. And again, I'm not making any excuses. Here's what's going to happen. There's another 17 days. By the end of the time period, I will be up about at 3,000 to 4,000. Mark my words. So my balance will be 152 to 154. I won't win, but I'll never reset, and that's what my balance will be, because that's what I do almost every month on a $150,000 account. So there should be no difference in the results. But the reason it is dumb, but the only reason I did it, because I said to them, I said, come on, and I didn't even think of resets. In my wildest dreams, I didn't think there was going to be a reset, So I said four or five things to James. I said, first of all, why are you doing 150? That's not even your most popular account. Let's do the account size that's the most popular, which is 50. No, we're just doing 150. That's what these other people wanted to do. I said, why is there not a daily loss limit? Well, we don't have a daily loss limit. And I said, you have them in your funded accounts. No, we're not going to do it with a daily loss limit. Then I said, how about just micros only? Up to 10 micros, but just no more than so. Or I think I said 5 micros. He said, well, that's silly in 150,000. I said, okay, I even agree with that. But it shouldn't be more than 1 mini. Of course, they're not going to do that because that's not how their program works even. And James is a great guy. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if he's watching this stream. He's a great guy. His wife, I can't remember her name. She's the one that put the program together. But you know why I did it? I did it because I get a free coupon every week to give to you guys. So there you go. I get a free coupon. And today, whoever guesses the results of my trading day is going to get a free coupon. Have fun. NASDAQ's pulling back a little bit. Let's see if the Dow can pull back. Congratulations, that nice ding, ding, ding at 6,700. Based on what we're seeing here, we got our markets on close orders. We could see actually some real movement today. Yeah, real life resets are available in real life. It's called getting a job. You know where they're also available? They're available in your own account too. You just you lose 10 grand, reset, put another 10 grand in there. Shit, I traded like that for over a decade. People ask how long did it take me to become profitable or whatever. It took me 10 years to stop being a bozo. That the most important thing was to learn how to not to lose. To learn how to have a day like yesterday and it doesn't affect me at all, not even in the slightest. I mean, a day like Friday. In fact, Friday I did extremely well. Made a lot of money and a lot of paper money. Some of you know I was short the Qs from about 608 to 612s. I had different tranches, and that was, you know, a fabulous day. Qs down $25 or something. Today I gave back a whole portion of that, right? But I'm staying short the Qs. Where are the Qs trading right now? They're trading 601.87s, right? Yeah, the way, again, in my perfect world, the way a competition should be done is similar to the way I talked about my perfect prop program. I would love my perfect prop program to have about a $2,000 to $2,500 account size. Your account would start with a zero balance. So it would start with a zero balance, so we don't have to keep track of, you know, and this, by the way, to their credit, this is what TopStep did with their XFAs, and a few other firms have started to do this, but it really hasn't taken over. It's great that TopStep ended up doing that with their XFAs, given the fact that they're the ones that screwed this all up back in 2012 by coming up with this notional value. And I understood, you know, they're like, well, no one's ever going to give us $150 for a $500 account. All right, there's our market and close. We didn't really see much out of the Dow, a little bit. Yeah, that's all. Now the buyers might come back in. So anyhow, that size account, then you have to have a dynamic daily soft loss limit. It doesn't knock you out, but you're done for the day, and it should be on a $2,500 account. It'd be $250. So I told that to Leon over at Merit at Phoenix, and he implemented that. So on their Merit accounts, which I think you can buy a couple different sizes, but let's say there's a $2,000 one, there's a 25% or $500 soft daily loss limit. Now, that's still probably bigger than reasonably what someone should be doing with their own $2,000, but I think that's at least getting closer to realistic identification of risk-adjusted returns. What is also cool about what they did at that Merit account, and by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can just go to right here on YouTube. It's the last video that I published. It's an interview with Leon Grimm, who's the CEO of Phoenix Trader Funding. And their Merit account is a account where you basically pay like $70 for $2,000 in capital, and it's just a 30-day little mini trading competition. And at the end, if you meet the criteria, which should be just producing risk-adjusted returns and trading small, there's some people that made some comments and say they spun their 2,000 up to 30 grand or 40 grand and then wondered why they didn't get an account. Because that's luck. I don't know what their report said, but let me say this again. If you take a small amount of money and spin it up to a large amount of money in 20 or 20 trading sessions, that is luck. It's not skill. Shut the fuck up. Okay, so if you do their program and you trade, and again, it has a too many minimum, right? Which is still too much. It should be, like I said, 5 micros. But what they did, which is great, is that the daily risk budget is 25% of your starting account balance. They're the first people out there. I don't know why these other firms haven't figured it out. Every other firm, can you please figure this out? It can't be that hard. Can you please offer daily risk budgets that are dynamic? Meaning drawdowns that are dynamic. Meaning if you grow your account, you have more risk that you can take on, even if it's 10 or 15%. Why can't you guys figure that out? I'm not a developer, but that doesn't seem that hard. So in other words, if you have a $2,500 account, on day one, your risk budget is $250. If you hit it, it's a soft stop and you can't trade anymore that day. Now you can set some of that stuff up on your own, but it would be great if the firms just set that up. You have a good day, you traded up to $3,100, you made $6. The next day, your daily risk budget is $310. Why is that so hard for Apex to do? Well, first of all, a lot of firms don't want to do it at all. The moment that TopStep removed their daily loss limit, their resets and blowups and the amount of money they're on the hook for dropped dramatically. A daily risk budget is not good for the prop firm. Not at all. Enforced at the data connection level, not good for the prop firm at all. So Nicholas said he bought a Merit account. There's no code for that one. It's just $69. So there's no deal or code area or nothing that you have to put in there. So it's fine. The codes provided discounts for Thor and discounts for some of the other accounts. We couldn't offer a discount on the Merit. And I don't receive any commission or compensation from any of these new firms that I'm working with anyway. Let me say that again. I don't receive any compensation or anything from any. Why am I doing it? You don't have to believe me, but I'm just doing it to show you choice. And I decided to talk to Leon again because, any guy that managed to build something as complicated as Thor, even though it's not perfect, it does a lot of neat things, and it's an ambitious, huge software project, and put that out in the public, and then also stay in business and launch the right way and go through all kinds of shit the first time I interviewed him because everyone was like, oh, these going to go out of business, the discounts aren't good enough, this, that, and the other. And then some of you numbskulls making comments about their data feed is going to hinder them as well. What is it? Is Rhythmic good or is Rhythmic bad? Would you rather have a different data feed or not have a different data feed? Shut up and trade. So Lucid has a dynamic daily loss limit, but much higher than 25%. What is it? Is it 50? If it's anything greater than 25, it's might as well not even have it. So, you can lose 30% of your account or 50% of your account. For those watching the markets, there's no trades. There's nothing to do here, really. So, I'm in one Dow short. Everything else is, we'll do our thing where we add up the profits for today. I was happy that I managed to get back to starting stack on some of these accounts that got a little underwater on Friday and on Thursday. Scott's saying, who's going to bother trading 30 days for free? It's not for free. You pay $70 to get $2,000. If you already have $2,000, just put $2,000 of your own money in there. Now, this gold short did not work out too well, so we're going to have to close that in just a little bit. Could have closed it all right when we were coming on, but they keep rallying everything into the close these days, with the exception of the Scare the Children Friday, right? All right, can you talk about sizing when ATR 7 compresses? I think what you're saying is right. Well, but Adam, we actually got a little bit of a expansion today. But basically, the idea here, folks, is that it's just like blackjack or any kind of when you're gambling, right? You start losing and you double your bets, and they call it martingale when you're just adding and adding. But it's just human nature that when things are going bad, you go on tilt. I've mentioned this before. And you say fuck it, and you just start doubling or doing more trades or going through that mental toxic behavior that I hear is very popular out there. I'm fortunate that I don't experience. So I get frustrated. Yes, I get frustrated like everybody else, but I've just never been one that just goes nutballs. I don't know why. So for those that are members of my group, I did bring on board someone that is very knowledgeable and a very good trader, and some of you might be talking to him, especially if you end up becoming lifetime members of my group. You can find out more about that later. But what Adam's saying in terms of the idea of trading a little bit bigger is as volatility compresses as measured by the ATR, you can actually trade larger, meaning increasing your contract size. You want to do the opposite when volatility is high. That's when you want to trade smaller. So until Friday, where we got massive range expansion and popped the ES ATR up to 82, it's only going to be there for a little bit. If we settle down and settle in here and the rest of the week is just sort of ho-hum, we're going to see it drop dramatically right back down. And as the ATR comes down, as volatility decreases, you can actually increase your position size. And you can do that in a number of different ways. If you're an all-in, all-out trader, you can decide to increase your size on your initial entry. But what's another benefit of trading micros in a properly leveraged way, in a risk-adjusted manner, is that you can actually have what I'm showing here on the screen. And do not concern yourself that Apex is not going to pay you out if you have a 4 micro position that you scaled into within a defined range that you could. I have a stream. Remember back when everyone was all up in arms about Apex made me send a video and all this stuff and fuck them and they're a scam and what a bunch of bullshit, you guys. They were dealing with literally thousands of traders that were having their trades placed for them and copy traded from outside sources. Now, they could have done a better job of communicating, and I don't want to go back to the past. Thank God we've gotten past all that. But true professional trading is campaigning around price, building positions, you know. Let me just take this. I'm going to take one of these off at a loss here. Okay. You'll be able to scale into 4 MYM micros. And if they tell you no, and you're doing anything similar to what I'm doing, timestamp this chart right here, because these are Apex PAs. And I get payouts every single month from them. So, all right, it's 1 o'clock. Let me close these orders here. I'm pretty sure we lost money over here.
Order filled. Position closed.
Close this. This is the futures funded, the futures desk. And I'm pretty sure I had a pretty bad day here. Well, not too bad. So we lost $90 and $100 and if you guys want to see the balance of the accounts, there's the balance of the accounts. I'm not hiding anything from you. $1,500 and $544. The futures desk, if you're not familiar with them, they're doing things really spot on. So I highly recommend you take a look at the futures desk. And I'm trading the futures desk here on Tickblaze. All right, one second. I got to figure out how I'm going to do this giveaway. How am I going to do this giveaway is what I got to figure out.
Order filled. Order filled.
I think the guess the profit thing was pretty good. A couple more questions and then let me just get flat here and I'm going to cancel all orders. So we're flattening everything, cancel all orders. I guess I don't have any more orders. Okay. All right, so let me answer a few questions and we'll do our giveaway. I don't know exactly how we want to do it, but we'll figure it out. How do you manage risk if the day ends up being a trend? Okay, so Justice, that's a cool name if it's spelled Justice. More than I can answer here, I would really highly recommend that you check out my trade room if you can. It's 10 days for free. There's no major upsells or anything like that, except into other free stuff like the ebook and things like that. So if you can check out the trade room, that's the best way to find out about this, because the answer is most people are not capable of identifying when things start to trend, and those trends have to be understood and spoken in a common vernacular. We have to agree on what we're talking about in terms of time frame, in terms of session time, all those types of things. I also hear information that's just not correct. If you want to know real data, use a product like Edgeful, right? Does everyone know Edgeful? So if you want a product that will give you the real data of what happens on Mondays and what happens on Fridays, the data, or how often a gap is filled, the data, please subscribe to EdgeFill. Okay, I have coupons for EdgeFill if you're interested in that. And again, you can find out more by checking out my Trade Room trial. We'll get you access to the free area of Discord. We can get you access to coupon codes and stuff if you wanted to try out EdgeFill. Okay, I highly recommend people check out EdgeFill so that you have the actual data about what is actually going on and when trends are really happening. But to make it even more simplified, Justice, you just have a daily risk budget. And don't concern yourself with the days in which it's not working. On the days in which it's not working, you're going to hit your DRB, and that's okay. Literally, folks, just start there. There is no strategy that's going to work even on a day-to-day basis in a consistent manner, especially when you're just learning how to manage risk. I teach mean reversion strategies because for most people, once they walk forward, test them a little bit, that means just sort of trade them live and put the orders on the line and do what I'm showing in my trade room, you will be able to have a lot more confidence, if you will, putting on the damn trade and then understanding that you're managing risk based on your daily risk budget to start. You don't even have to make it more complicated or sophisticated than that. And then ultimately what I can show you is the same thing as if I had gotten filled here, if I do like a risk reward, right? I won't do risk reward. I'll just do the ruler, right? Nobody teaches anything like this. This is my entry. Don't worry about why it is. You put the order on the line, that's your entry. If your first target is right here, and that's 98 points, or ticks, points are the same thing in the Dow Jones. If that's 98 points, and I want a 2-to-1 reward to risk, how high above my entry is my stop? I'm just going to wait till someone answers that. By the way, nobody teaches this. Okay, this is important, really. If there was anybody out there teaching this, I would defer and go, hey, you can learn this somewhere else for free or whatever. You're learning it right now for free. There's nobody that shows you dynamic entry, dynamic target, dynamic stop, which simply means that your entry is a VWAP band, right? Do you have to worry about whether it's a red line on the chart? No, so 200 is wrong. The proper answer is 50, right? And that gets you a 2-to-1, right? If you want a 1-to-1, then put your stop 100 points above. Okay? I just gave you a strategy that's going to work more often than not and put probabilities in your favor, especially once you learn the value of this line depending on the amount of volatility for the day. Hopefully this is all starting to make sense. This is situational fluency. Okay? This is situational fluency. Trading the orb is not situational fluency. I'm not saying it won't work and you can't make money on it, but it's not situational fluency. You're not developing any ability to advance your skill. Okay? But there you go. So you have the entry, you have the target, you have the stop. And you'll also hear from me that I don't even think those things are that important in terms of the target and the stop and the risk management per trade. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. What's most important is that you abide by a daily risk budget, and then that is all, because on a day like Friday, it won't frickin' matter what you do if you get on the wrong side of it. You just hit your 250, you're done. Who cares what the market does after that? The day is not even that important to you. It doesn't affect you mentally. The last thing you want to do, I mean, I'm sure you guys heard, there's $20 billion liquidated in the crypto markets on Friday. Good. If you lost all your money in Fartcoin, sorry. And what that also shows you is that here, let me help you out because we're going to talk about things that are not based on these prop programs and stuff. DeFi is not effing ready. Stop all you crypto nuts. It's not ready. These exchanges are not ready. Using leverage in that market, you're fucking insane. You want to use leverage? Trade the MBT. Boom, you got it. You got some leverage on Bitcoin through the CME. no problem. Tracks to spot with a small spread to spot. I actually don't even know what the spread is to spot, but it's not that bad. And then the spreads and liquidity of the instrument itself is not good. But so what? You're never going to get liquidated down 90% on your fart coin. All right, let's figure this out. How do we want to do a giveaway? I think I can just use a random generator from something because let's do this. You guys stuck around. If you stuck around long enough, we're going to give you the the thing here. So I want to add the commissions today because there was a decent amount of commission. All right, here we go. All right, how did we do this before? Oh, we went over to here. We're going to go to come down here. Chat GPT. All right, so here's how it's going to work. I'm going to show you the screenshot. You're going to guess what the total is. We got to do the closest to without going over, and then the giveaway today is going to be for a $50,000 TradeEvade account. Not TradeEvade, sorry, a $50,000 TradeDay account, which I only have this coupon because I'm participating in the program. You're very welcome. All right, so we're going to do our total P&L calculation. Oh, remember on Friday what it did? Where it said, oof. Was that Friday or Thursday? I can't remember what day that was. That wasn't Friday. That was actually earlier in the week. All right, so we're gonna add the photo here. All right, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Boom. All right, that's it. Please total the P&L column I love when I do this. Do you guys ever see that social media stuff where someone is recording something and they ask ChatGPT a question and then it starts spewing out all this stuff and like, oh, look, it knows everything. All they did was prompt it and they just told it ahead of time to spew out a bunch of crazy shit. So what we're going to do is we're going to please total the P&L column and then provide any insights or make shit up. I should tell it, don't make up the total. And when you say thanks, it costs ChatGPT 6 cents. It's a token. All right, our bets are coming in. Our bets are coming in. Closest to without going over. By the way, I didn't take that screenshot from nowhere. This is real stuff. So anyway, in case you care. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It could be a screenshot from anywhere. We're just using it to, man, it's taking a while here. And just so that if you're first time watching the stream, so there's not like, I'm a bullshitter and I never show when I lose. Remember? I don't know if you guys were watching the stream that day. Do you guys remember that day? That was 10 grand, I think. But you see how up at the top, the two accounts here were positive? I'm going to stay on the screen for a second because these are real account numbers. Please don't steal my money. U16 whatever. This is a real account number from IB, and here's a real account number from from Ninja. So see the balance there is 11,166, and the balance there is 6860. Okay. Let's flash forward to right here, and let me do the net liquidation. Change it so it goes to these smaller accounts. See that? So now this balance is 7,000 and this one is 12,000. Now it takes a long time to doctor that shit, so hope you guys dig it. All right, here we go. Get on with it, Rod. How long can it be analyzing this shit? Then we need more data centers. All right, you guys still have, I can't believe how long it's giving you to get your answers in. 30,000 is going to be incorrect. Maybe I freaked it out when it didn't give me an answer. What is going on? God damn it, ChatGPT went down. I think. Hold on. Oh. Oh, come on. You never had problems in the past. What are you talking about? Now, you guys ever get in a conversation with AI? Now it's going to be apologetic, and then I don't know. Let's try it again. Give it the same screenshot. Total the. Oh my God! I'm not doing that. Anyone thinks that AI is taking over the world, it's getting stupider. It does things it used to be able to do. What is it telling me to do? Copy the values directly from the Ninja grid. I'm not doing that. No. Thanks for hanging on here. You should hear the conversations you have. You know, my favorite conversation ever was when I was about to punch my hand through my computer when I spent almost over 3 months training a model, a custom model on. Now it's broken again. Look. All right. Well, then you do what you're doing. This is good. There you go. Fine. Extract it. I shouldn't have to tell you to extract it. Here we go. Okay, show your work. 11,690. Sorry, I can't even. I have dyslexia, and I don't have dyslexia. 11,630. 41. All right, do your work, chat. And who won? I don't know if sounds like relaxation might have gotten a little too close. I might have to. Sounds like you did it. You did the OCR on your own, so you might have to. I think I'm gonna have to disallow you. That feels a little too close. All right. Other than that, who is the closest? All right. So someone had 11,490. That sounds pretty good. Johnny Aspen had 11,490. The day's getting a little long here. I don't want to stick around too much longer. So did anyone get closer than Johnny, who's saying he got pretty close? Rather than us going through all this, are we going to believe Johnny? Yeah. I see that he did have 11,490 in there. So, and I already said I have to disallow the sounds like relaxation got it exactly on. That's right, because you went over. You went to 11,001, 660 spot 89. So we're going to trade. All right. All right. Johnny Aspen, here's how this works. You send an email to info@TradersDevGroup. Only Johnny Aspen. If many of you impersonate Johnny Aspen's not going to get his prize. So, because I don't do all that nonsense about. I am going to have to do all that nonsense when I give away the Savius accounts, because the Savius ones are going to be direct accounts and they're worth quite a bit. By the way, you guys see little move. MES back up to 6,700 and then gave you a nice little 10-point decline. Dow Jones down a little bit. All right, it's info at Traders Dev Group. All right, what did it say here? You're solidly positive. That 11.6 looks like a strong day, especially since the distribution is pretty even, not coming from one outlier. About 10 to 12 accounts are clustered in the 300 to 600. You got 2 zeros, likely stopped out accounts. No, those 2 zeros are a SIM account, an account that I didn't trade because it's ready for a payout. All right, congratulations to Johnny Aspen. Thanks everybody for joining today. Really appreciate it. Appreciate those that keep me on task even when I want to blabber about dealing with the public for too long. We're building a great community here. Love to have you be part of it. The easiest way to find out about what we do is to grab the ebook. That ebook's going to get you on the list. It'll also show you how to get access to a lot of other free training, tell you the way to go about these prop programs properly, which is to establish, protect, and respect a daily risk budget, trade the MYM to start, learn some strategies that are going to give you a framework for how to see markets in a dynamic way so that you're not always guessing or drawing trend lines or using a moving average or looking for a fair value gap or inventing shit based on the past. Don't invent shit based on the past. Trade the hard right edge of the market, which is always what these lines are going to provide you. The same thing over here on the range trader. You have prior session highs and lows. You have a volume profile that's very easy to learn, and you have levels that you can work off of on either a 30-minute chart, or if you're more into lower time frame trading, we have these brick wicks over here. All right, that'll be it for today. Appreciate everybody. We'll see you at the stream tomorrow. Be good. Bye-bye.